Toes, and we've got something special for you guys. Here is our brand new map select. Yeah, that's right, baby. We got floating maps in the middle of the stage. But let's start with the bans first. I know both of you, you know, we're probably not expecting to see anything crazy out of the bans. They're not going to want to take away things they're comfortable on. But having seen what they've done in the EMEA playoffs, it's very unlikely we see ACEND let that split through. But who knows? They've had a couple of weeks to try and get that map pool back into order. But I also will say that, Sean, when you asked about the weaknesses, here we go.
Oh yeah, ACEND banning split right off the bat. This is exactly what we expected. Everything is going according to plan. I have no idea how the picks are going to happen, but split being taken out by ACEND is a power play.
And now we have Breeze banned by, so no surprises here. Oh, I love this map select. Thank you very much, NA, for coming to EU to actually get the real production.
Yeah, everything makes sense so far, but this is the first pick, and it is a bind lock straight in there. Sean, what do you make of this?
Yeah, that's ACEND's pick, and that is one of my favorite maps to watch them on. And you won't even get to see CNET on Jet. I know it's tragic. We're going to get to see him on Sage most likely, because that's what he locks in there. But Keelay's on the Viper. Jeez, he is insane on the map. They like to run the double controller with Brimstone. They're the best in the world on the map.
Very strong, especially on the defender side. I feel like they've only played against, I mean, they've only lost against Gambit. I feel like they're super strong. They do the double control and it works for them. On the other side, SMB is not going to go with the double smoke. That scares me a lot because of map control and because I love a good Brimstone on bind.
Oh, ACEND. Okay, that's coming up second. Kakuka, I know you really wanted to see this.
I love this because I feel like both ACEND and Icebox are the maps for the Jets to shine, and that's what we're here for. Come on, no, we're not fooling anyone. I feel like this is a map that, of course, SMB had to pick for themselves. They're extremely strong on this, so it's no surprise.
Yeah, 7-4 in the last couple of months on ACEND. I mean, this is their home field. They can hit the A side, they can hit the B side. They run fakes really, really well on the map, and you can see ACEND is going to be picking defense actually to start on. I think that's a really good choice, trying to get CNET activated on that defensive side.
And map 3, we're going to go to Icebox if we go to map 3. Sean, what do you make of this one? Are you a fan of Icebox, of those two teams?
Look, I really think that both these teams are phenomenal on Icebox, right? It's the map that allows your Jet and your Duelist in general to shine. The rest of the roles kind of fall into place. There's always going to be that Viper, that Sova, you know, but we're going to get to see the CNET Izzy map 3 potentially Jet on Icebox. Oh my god, it will be insane. And SMB is going to start on defense there.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised because I thought that they were actually going to go for the attack. They're an aggressive team, and especially on Icebox, I feel like there's nothing wrong with starting attacking. I mean, probably you want to, but we'll see if we get to the third map.
Yeah, I mean, we're not seeing the exact same group of maps as you guys expected, but we are seeing some of them, a couple of them. But let's talk about Bind first, because that is going to be map 1. This is ACEND's pick, which is pretty much expected, Sean, given how dominant they are here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the first time these two teams met, Pora gave them a lot of trouble on that A side. You can see the map on the floor. That is insane. That's so cool. So Pora will set up his Killjoy utility all over this A side. And the reason why this is so weird is because they also have a Sage, right? They have a Killjoy and a Sage. And then Izzy likes playing Jet. Those aren't really that great of bind agents as a trio, so they had to make some changes, and that's why Izzy plays Raze usually on bind. It's a very uncomfortable map for SMB.
Yeah, I feel that that's the word, uncomfortable. And actually, earlier on the pre-show, I was like, there's some things that I don't like, especially Power when he pushes too much. We know, and we'll see now, if they're gonna pick the Astra.
Yes.
It is an agent that I like in this map if it has another controller. I feel like it suits the style for SMB, but I just feel like it's not enough. They do not gather enough information, and I want to see Cena perform on the stage. I think it has to be a good start for him.
When I watched SMB though on bind, I loved Brave's. He had great star placement right outside Hookah. He controlled Hookah with Turco a lot, and that's what allowed Pora to lock down the A site with the turrets top triple, the turrets for U-Haul, as well as crazy alarm bot placements that allowed like reactions from his team. So they have so many little tricks up their sleeve.
I mean, this is the problem, right? We saw with some of the EMEA teams, Kakuka, that the teams that did run Astra had a bigger success rate, and the teams that didn't run Astra just struggled. Do you feel like this is the difference maker? Do SMB have to run the Astra?
They don't have to, not at all. We're probably not going to see them. I mean, we'll go into Agent Select in a little while, but I feel like Astra is good when it's accompanied by all their smokers, I was saying. Maybe if you make it work, if you really work to make it work, but on paper, it's going to look like it suits SMB. I still don't think it was enough. I have to say, though, that when they lost this map against ACEND, they just came back from getting their visas ready. I remember this moment when we were in finals, and they were like, oh, we didn't get any sleeves, but we actually needed to get to Berlin and, you know, priorities. But that sounded like an excuse for me.
What about you, Sean? Because, you know, in NA, Astra is still very much a viable pick, but in EMEA, not many teams are running her.
I actually kind of disagree with Kukuka. I think Astra's an insane individual control. Like if you solo picked an Astra, you can use those gravity wells to take control of Shower. You can use the gravity well to instantly take that long B area. And I agree, after patch 3.0 with those delays to the gravity well, I believe it's 1.4 seconds into the round, she's got that little bit of a nerf, and we've seen a decline in her, but she's still mega viable, and I love it.
I think, and I am going to bet that there's going to be some changes coming from SMB because they knew two things. Right? They knew two things. They knew that they wanted to ban Breeze. Maybe we'll see it later in the competition. But against ACEND, knowing how they play and knowing that you have not tested what you have prepared, are you gonna? I mean, this is such a strong start. Everybody's going to be watching. So if you have that ace, you're not going to use it now. No. So they saved that. But they know that ACEND is going to pick Bind against them. So 100% bet Ultra Red is going to be changes. Yeah.
I do actually want to go more on that point because going into Iceland, you know, everybody was kind of hyped about Fnatic's Bind because they were one of the best Bind teams in the world. And I think outside of Sentinels, they weren't even really that challenged, or they didn't even lose on Bind until they met Sentinels. But the problem that Boaster and Mini said was that because everybody liked their Bind, they knew what they did, they had to make changes. And Sean, if you look at the way that ACEND have played Bind, they've had the same comp for 14 games in a row. So do you feel like they also need to make changes here?
I don't know. I mean, they win 61% of their attack rounds, 74% of their defensive rounds. I am a little worried about what you said because there's so much footage on them. And Starkzo takes control of Showers as that Sky, right? He'll send in the Guiding Light. He'll send in the Tiger. And he'll try to clear out Showers. Sometimes he's by himself. Sometimes it's a 4-person Shower hit. It's very difficult to gather that info and figure out which one it is. But when you have the footage, you can figure it out. So I'm worried for ACEND in that regard.
I mean, we saw this double controller all over the place. Yeah, it was Fnatic. It was impossible to beat until the teams actually learn how to do it. So everybody making changes. I feel like SMB has to be one of them, as I was saying. I do love Power. I've always done when he was in Heretics, now when he's on SMB. But I feel like Killjoy, like playing Sentinels like Killjoy or Cypher in this map, it's kind of old. It's just too last year, you know? So,
yeah, the season's moved on.
No, yeah, completely. And I feel like if you really, I mean, if you're going to play like Power plays, just pushing A short and gathering that information, how about you play something else? Or you move to a different role so you can gather and have control of the map without needing your presence on it.
Well, yeah, and that's why I actually think this is difficult for Izzy, because he is forced into the scenario where they have a Killjoy and a Sage, and there's not a lot of things that you can open up things with on attack side, right? Especially if you have a Jet in there too. So he almost has to be raised. So that way he has the boom bots, so he has the paint shells, and they can access Hookah, they can access Shower with those pieces of utility, and they wouldn't be able to do that with a Jet.
But I also got to say, you know, CNED, not going to see him on the Jet right off the bat. A lot of fans are going to be disappointed. But if ACEND were to make changes, is that the kind of change you want to see, or do you want to see maybe Starkzo or Zeke do something different?
No, I would want to see CNED on the Jet. I have these memories in my head of him just peeking Shower on FPX, and FPX is so like layered on their strats. They're trying to do all their little cool setups, and he's just peeking into them, dashing away, picking one. Blade Storm, you know, he's just insane. He's all over the map when he's on Jet. Such an impactful player.
And Kukuka?
No, I do not want to see changes because I feel like maybe he could move to, let's say, a Soba, okay? That is something that you can play also with this composition. I feel like CNED needs to have the freedom to not use his abilities for his team, but more for himself. So if we put him on Soba, he's always gonna have to switch his position in for the favor of the team. So I feel like, I mean, he's a Jet player. He needs the freedom. He needs the space for himself.
There's no scenario where we don't want to see him on the jet, you know, every day of the week. But now we know the map picks. I want to get your prediction for the whole series, you know. We got Bind, we got Ascend, and we've got Icebox. I'll give you a minute to think. I mean, I backed Ascend for the whole tournament, so it's going to be silly for me to not back him here. But I will say I'm 51% certain that it's going to be Ascend. Like, for me, there's literally a 1% separating the two teams. I feel like it's going to go to third map no matter what. I wanted to go to third map. I feel like in this kind of a matchup, we deserve it. But Kakuka, who do you think, who are you backing for this?
This is going to be a 2-1, and it's going to be for Supermassive place. And I'm going to give you a reason, and it's going to be a good one. I feel like Ascend performed better under pressure. I mean, of course, the pressure is here. We're seeing it. But I feel like if they go into that lower, they're going to perform better for the rest of the competition.
I think the cream rises to the top here, and I think Ascend takes this 2-0. I'm gonna be honest. I think if it goes to Icebox, they might be in a little bit of trouble, but they knew this Ascend pick was coming. I think of Ascend as the best team in EMEA, and I think they're gonna prove it here today.
Yeah, well, I mean, on the other side of this, what do SMB need to do in your point of view for it not to be a 2-0? Because obviously, that lower bracket is scary.
Well, they would have to steal this bind map, right? I don't see it happening. I think of Ascend as such a dominant bind team. They have the perfect comp in this meta, and even if the anti-strats come out from SMB, I think Ascend will be aware of those possibilities and have made the changes.
I mean, Kakuka, like you said, you're backing SMB here. What do you think are their win conditions? Because Sean, I think he needs some convincing.
Okay, I'm telling you. First of all, Brave is insane. He's extremely young, literally turned 18 today, as we were saying. But we've heard from Tani, who went from Team Heretics, from OG, from helping here now, along with Merc, that he's such a smart player for being so young. Like, hearing Tani comparing Brave to a Vova at such a young age, being like, I came into this team and this guy is insane. So that is obviously a big win condition. I feel like just pump it up. I just want Power to be the only calm guy on the team, and I feel like we're not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I love watching him. I will say I love watching SMB because the players have so much freedom to make their plays, and they've gone over all these crazy reactions, the utility that they see across the map. But a structured team like Ascend with the footage and defeating them coming into this, I think hurts them in this series because it fires up a team like Ascend.
I mean, like the footage as well, like you said, there is so much footage of Ascend. Like, I feel like at this point, if you're not watching Ascend, you're stealing something from them, or you're trying to steal something from them. So if anything, I feel like, especially on the other side, there's not as much footage for SMB. Just the comparability is quite jarring in this matchup.
And that's when this is the real test for SMB, right? Because they formed as a team in May, which is insane that they even made it here, right? Through all of the competition in EU, these guys rose and they looked really good doing so, making the grand finals actually. But can they do it with all of this footage out and weeks to prepare? This is the real test in my eyes, and Ascend has passed that test.
I mean, what would you do if you were, in the shoes of SMB coming into this tournament, knowing that